A bit ago, I decided to make a little video where I took a gander at only the first and last episodes of Bunked. I had never seen a single episode of it, literally ever, so I thought that it would be fun to watch its first and last episodes and try to predict where the show would end up. Well, recently, Olivia Rodrigo released a brand spanking new album, and because of that, it reminded me that I also have never seen a single episode of her show, Bizaardvark, which came out in 2016. Almost exactly 10 years ago, too, might I add. So I thought I would revisit this template again and take a look at this show to see what it's about, how it started, and if I can successfully predict how it wraps up. Let's get into it.
I'm Jake Paul from Bizaardvark, and you're watching Disney Channel. Oh, no looker, first ever. Oh, nailed it.
Okay, so here's what I know about Bizaardvark. Olivia Rodrigo was in it. Jake Paul was in it for a bit and then got kicked off. And then lastly, the show has been compared to iCarly quite a lot. That's literally it though. I don't know the premise, I don't know the character names, I know literally nothing else about it. I'm actually somehow going into this blinder than I did Bunked. I have done zero research on this show. Please believe me when I say that I am truly writing this before watching a single episode. So, I am going to try to predict the setup of the show. What's interesting about Bizaardvark is the fact that unlike iCarly, it actually came out after the concept of live streaming and internet celebrities were mainstream. So because of that, I think that the two main girls are going to be inspired by another streamer or content creator online and are now choosing to get involved in that whole space thanks to them almost growing up in that era. I know Olivia is like 23, so if her character age is anywhere close to her age, then she would have been a kid during that time where YouTubers and even Viners were really starting to become big. So actually, maybe it's more so that the two girls have always been trying to make content since they were kids thanks to those online creators, starting off with silly little home movies first. Then my other main prediction is that whatever Bizaardvark is actually a creation from the school that they attend, like a club or something. Almost like how schools have band geeks and theater kids. Maybe they had to make Bizaardvark for a school project or something, and it got big because the girls are actually really funny. I don't know about Jake Paul's character though. He's definitely older than everyone else, perhaps like a senior or something. I don't think he's a bully because Disney shows didn't really have bullies as main characters. I do think though that he's a jock. That seems like the kind of role Jake Paul would do. But maybe it's a High School Musical type situation where he likes doing football or whatever sport, but really his heart is more into creating content, and so he joins Team Bizaardvark. Those are my guesses for the setup of the show though. I know literally nothing else about it. So let's see how much I actually get right. Time for you guys to watch me watch it for the very first time. The first episode of Bizaardvark, appropriately titled First, premiered on June 24th, 2016. And within the first 5 minutes of the episode, it becomes very clear to me that nearly everything that I had predicted does not in fact end up happening. For starters, the show begins with the two main leads, Paige, played by Rodrigo, and Frankie, played by Madison Who, already having an established channel on the site Bugle. Meaning the whole Bizaardvark is originating from some video class at school thing is not accurate in the slightest. One of the things I had heard about this show was how it was allegedly a ripoff of iCarly. And initially, I think when I was going over my prediction for the series, I was trying to give the show too much benefit of doubt. Like I was really trying to make it stand out from iCarly by giving it a different setup. Just because I was kind of hoping it wasn't that similar to the show, considering how big iCarly was and how much it impacted the kids' sitcom world, I figured Bizaardvark would try to do more to separate itself from the series given its already similar concept. But no, the first few minutes definitely give off iCarly vibes, even down to the whole random humor thing.
We make crazy videos and we look good in a beard.
I'll give the show some slack though. Random humor was definitely around during this time, so taking any other approach just wouldn't be a great way to show what the internet was like around this time. Not to mention the weird jokes literally fit in with what their channel and the show in general is called. But yeah, so far, the show definitely gives off iCarly vibes. Another thing I got wrong was that I labeled school as a potentially important setting to not only the origin of Bizaardvark, but also the characters and their roles / dynamics. Turns out they go to a private school, one that actually thinks the girls are a bunch of weirdos. The unimportance of the school does set up the actual main setting of the series though, the Bugle Studio, a place for young creators to work on their videos and hang out, one that requires you to have at least 10,000 subscribers to get in. The episode's plot starts to pick up though when the girls' channel actually reaches that requirement, thus granting them access into the facility. But before we get into all that, can we talk about the show's intro real quick?
You could watch.
Do you have constant foot odor?
Well, that's another thing this show has in common with iCarly, I guess. The girls want to use this opportunity to meet like-minded weirdos like themselves who have that burning passion for creating videos. That way they don't have to hide who they really are, like at school. When we get our first look in the Bugle, we see several things that help me remember that I am not in 2010 anymore. This is the most modern thing I've covered so far on my channel, and so because of that, we see stuff like VR headsets and horse heads. I'm just surprised there's no one on hoverboards or playing with slime. While there, we meet the rest of the characters. Bernie, played by Ethan Wacker, almost kind of gives me Roger from Sister Sister vibes, though this time he doesn't have a crush on any of the girls, surprisingly. Also worth noting that despite Ethan playing a character that's supposed to be younger than the two girls, he's actually the same age as Madison Hugh and older than Olivia Rodrigo. I did know this character existed, but only because I remember seeing the actor's video where he's like genuinely crying over Jake Paul leaving the show. Dude's glazing, he couldn't have been that fire. Basically, Bernie is this kid that wants to become the manager of the Bizaardvark girls. He's not even a creator himself, he just wants to mooch off of their success. It's kind of real for that though. Then there's Jake Paul, playing a character named Dirk, who low-key kind of just ended up being who Jake will become in real life. He does a lot of stupid dares and whatnot, basically do anything you ask him to do, like fight an 80-year-old Mike Tyson. One of the things the show does, and something iCarly couldn't do back when it was airing, was truly embrace how big internet culture had gotten. And so the geniuses over at Disney Channel came up with the idea to cast an actual popular internet celebrity to be a part of the series. And you know what? I was gonna hate, but to be honest, Jake Paul is oddly good at Disney Channel acting, so he gets a pass. Then lastly, to round out the main cast, there is Amelia, played by Devor Ledridge, who does a bunch of lifestyle videos targeted towards girls. It's also implied that she's from somewhere out in the country, considering her super thick accent. The girls somehow manage to squander both opportunities of being friends with them though, smashing Dirk's cake to the ground and accidentally deleting Amelia's video. Because of this, now people are starting to shun them. Fortunately for them though, the head of Bugle, who I guess is literally just the head, informs them that it'll soon be time for them to present their first ever video made in the actual studio. Wow, first they rip off iCarly, now they're ripping off Ned's Declassified. Tisk, tisk, tisk. The girls believe that this will be their time to finally win everyone back and truly impress them. So they start working on a music video they came up with earlier based on an experience where Paige failed to come up with a comeback in time. Problem is, they start to get a little too into their heads about this whole thing and start overthinking what idea they should really present. They doubt every idea that comes into their head, leading to them not actually having anything to show when it's their turn. Leading to that one sad scene that's in every pilot where the main characters question if they're really ready for whatever goal or quest they're trying to do throughout the series.
If you can't make one video, then why are you even here?
Good question. This was supposed to be where we finally found our people. We did. They just didn't find us.
Wait, why are y'all talking about this while you're still in front of them? You know they can hear you, right? Couldn't wait till y'all stepped outside first? Later, the girls are seen sulking in somebody's bedroom. I don't know whose though.
Hey!
Oh my gosh, go home, Roger. Turns out though, Bernie actually comes in with some really good advice. The girls are under the impression that since they struggled to come up with a video idea in time to present at the Bugle House, that they simply aren't worthy of continuing Bizaardvark. But Roger delivers a rather passionate speech that encourages the girls to not give up on their dreams, especially because they've clearly made an impact. Oh wait, it's Frankie's room. Okay, cool, that solves that. But yeah, the girls have clearly made an impact on their fans, young and old, and that alone is what helps them get that passion they very much so needed back. It also served as a reminder that they shouldn't overthink on what to do in order to make people laugh, but genuinely, they're at their best when they're just being themselves.
Bernie Shots, alone in a girl's room. What should I check out first?
Oh man, this dude a weirdo. Shame too, I was actually starting to like him. We're then hit with the comeback song, a song about coming up with the perfect comeback, but only after it's way too late. Gotta say, this is a fun little idea, and honestly is a perfect way to do random humor with a purpose. When you watch this video, it might give you similar vibes to Incredible Crew, a show that I made a video about like 3 years ago. And in that video, I mentioned how a lot of sketches and music videos were just random for the sake of being random, thus creating the show a chore to get through. But I honestly think that this show does a much better job at making the sketches actually fit into the rest of the show. The comeback song is cute though, it even got a good laugh or two out of me. And clearly the audience shares a similar opinion because they all start rapidly applauding them. Even Jake Paul and Amelia. The rest of the episode ends equally as positive though. The girls piece things up with Jake and Amelia while also allowing Bernie to finally manage them. Then they start doing this weird wave thing and the episode ends or whatever, I don't know. I'm trying to get some pancakes, I can't lie. Despite initially having a lot in common with iCarly, Bizaardvark does end up doing enough to separate itself from the show. A lot of that is thanks to the year it came out. As I stated before, Bizaardvark spends more time embracing online culture than iCarly did. It wouldn't surprise me if the pitch for this show was literally, what if iCarly was made in 2016? As much as people give it flack online for adopting the concept, I actually low-key think it wasn't a bad idea. iCarly was a little too ahead of its time, and with internet and content creating culture being more prominent than ever in the mid 2010s, I think a show existing to capitalize on that makes a lot of sense. It's almost like how in the 2010s there were movies and shows made to capitalize on what was popular back then, like rock music or extreme sports. Things that nowadays would probably feel a little out of place if made today. I can't blame anyone for revisiting the subject of social media or content creation in a kids show. Still, I think more could have been done to make it stand out, even more from iCarly. As it stands though, despite having similar setups, this show expands upon the concept in ways iCarly didn't. They introduced the aspect of having an entire hub filled with creators and spent time highlighting other types of content creation. I'm assuming the show will continue to do this more so on a regular basis, just going off of the makeup of it. I think Bizaardvark's pilot is a fine piece of kids media that manages to stand on its own for the most part. It's not great, but it has a decent amount of charm and charisma, not to mention some genuinely witty jokes to make it an entertaining watch. Not really sure what the vibe was like around the show during this time, at least amongst its demographic, but considering it got 3 seasons, which means it did pretty well for itself on the channel, I wouldn't be surprised if it really resonated with kids. I'm very curious to see as we zoom past 62 episodes, how much the show has changed.
We'll be right back with Paige and Frankie in Bizaardvark on Disney Channel. Now back to Paige and Frankie making more crazy videos in Bizaardvark on Disney Channel.
But before we get into the next episode, I have to once again see if I can predict any of the story elements, not just how I think the show will wrap up, but what I think has changed since the first episode as well. For starters, I do know that the episode is called The End of the Beginning. I had to know what the title of the episode was to go and watch it, so that is one thing I do know. However, I was gonna always predict that the show would end with some sort of opportunity that the girls get. It just makes sense. Something that would bring them away from either everyone else in the cast or perhaps each other. So that would either be moving on from Bugle to some other big platform, or perhaps getting a chance in the entertainment industry. Kind of like how Jake Paul, former castmate, literally went from social media to TV in this show.
Nailed it!
So the episode will deal with them focusing on what they think is best, whether it's staying with their friends or moving on up in the world. Another thing that I believe to have happened during the episodes I haven't seen is that Paige and Frankie are now Bugle veterans and have kids looking up to them in a similar way to how they looked up to everyone else. I am also going to officially put down that there is at least one montage in this episode that shows the girls' growth as creators. That is all I got though. Now it is time to see how right I am. It's only been 3 seasons. I highly doubt anything that major has changed with the show. Whoa, wait, hold on now, bro. How much did I miss? Somebody got married? What, is there a time skip or something? We moving like Young Justice now? I don't know her. I don't know him. I don't know him. Hey, he finally caught up to Olivia. I don't know her. I don't know these people. I don't recognize anybody, bruh. Hey, at least Horsehead is still around, though, I guess. Alright, so in a shocking turn of events, it appears that Bernie's grandma is about to marry Amelia's dad. I'm not quite sure how we got here, but we are in fact here. Also, they shortened the theme song because this was made during the era where TV networks figured out that you can fit in more commercials by cutting the intro in half. Not like the intro to the show was any good anyway, though. During the reception, Bernie and Amelia deal with the fact that they're more or less siblings now, and they seem to be struggling with all that. Hey man, could be worse. It could be like Will and Nia Long in Fresh Prince, where they were actually dating but had to stop once their parents got married. It's funny I brought up Fresh Prince though, because there's this dude in this episode named Roman Rainwood, who for a split second I actually thought was Carlton. I also don't know who this dude is, but he did reveal something really interesting. Apparently, the Bizaardvark characters all live at the beach now, which actually leads into something that I almost put down as a prediction, but chose not to last minute. A thought occurred to me that since it was the final season of the show, they switched up the location, which is something that was really common with the Disney shows. But typically, stuff like that was only done in 4th season, so I figured that wouldn't be a thing since Bizaardvark ended with season 3. Clearly I was wrong though, I guess Disney was moving different in 2019. Roman is apparently someone with Hollywood connections though, because after thinking about the new situation that the girls have been in since presumably the start of the season, with the whole best friends living at a beach and making content thing, he decided that a show featuring those two might be worth putting into production.
Wow, a TV show? That's huge. I can't even imagine that. I mean, who would want to watch us on TV?
There's something about when this show does tongue-in-cheek meta jokes that actually comes across as kind of funny and natural. Like, if Jesse tried to do this joke, it wouldn't work at all, but considering what I know about the show now and the overall vibe, it actually does work. A lot happens in the next few minutes that sets up the main conflict of the story. Amelia's dad decides to take his new wife back to Kentucky, but says that the kids don't have to come with them since the Bugle house is still a thing. Except it's not a thing anymore, because a few seconds later, Computer Man comes on the screen to say that he's basically broke now, and the only way he can stay afloat is if he sells Bugle, and now everyone else is low-key kinda cooked. Fortunately though, Timu Carlton comes in and says that the Paige and Frankie show has officially been picked up, meaning that the core 4 of the show are all about to split up and part ways, venturing on 2 very different journeys. One thing I kind of noticed about this show is that, similarly to Zeke and Luther, it low-key operates on kid logic. If I had to guess, Paige and Frankie's parents are either in this show very little or just not at all. Reason why I say this is because Paige and Frankie are about to move to New York more or less on their own to do this show. Zeke and Luther has done similar things before, and we literally never saw their parents. By eliminating the presence of parents in shows like this, it actually allows the characters to do whatever they want without the question of, well, wait, how are their parents letting this happen? Man, I could really make another Fresh Prince reference if I wanted to, but I feel like I've reached the maximum amount for a video. Might have to just wait for the next one, I guess. Anyway, the main pair head to the Big Apple and are introduced to the set of their new show, which is literally just a recreated version of the Bugle house, which is literally just the same set the show actually films on. They then meet the actors playing Bernie and Amelia, but as they quickly realize, even though they kind of resemble their old friends, they aren't nearly as friendly. Even worse, one of them is British. That was a joke, by the way, sending love to all my supporters in the UK. All 5 of them. Paige and Frankie, like a bunch of losers, realize they'd rather spend time with their friends making memories than on set making money. Clearly, they don't understand that grind life. So they hop on a car and go on a little road trip, Roman included, to get the band back together. Little by little, they manage to somehow locate all their old friends, even Mr. Horsehead. Finally, they end up in Kentucky and try to link up with Bernie and Amelia, but it appears we have a bit of a Zoe 101 Season 4 situation. Little Girl tells the crew that Bernie and Amelia actually went to New York to go see them because of how much they missed them. But remember what I said about this show operating on cartoon logic? Well, despite us not knowing how much time exactly has passed, Amelia and Bernie managed to get on the next flight out back to Kentucky and reunite with Paige and Frankie. And it's then when everyone realizes that it'd be much better if they all chose to stay together instead of splitting up again. Whether it's in Kentucky, New York, or anywhere else in the world, the only thing that really matters to the crew is that they're together. And of course, making videos. Just like the good old days. Which I guess for them was like last week or something, I don't know. Bizaardvark's final episode, especially seeing it after only watching the first one. It's truly bizarre. It does that thing that kids shows do when they're ending, where the writers don't want to actually give it an ending, so they kind of just pump fake the audience into thinking the status quo is going to change, but really nothing major happens. I think more shows should honestly take the Teen Titans route and teach kids that, like the show you've been watching for the past few years, nothing lasts forever. Not everything from a certain era of your life is going to make it into your next one. There's more people to meet, more opportunities to come, or whatever it is Shamik Moore said in that one tweet. Kids shows gotta stop being so scared to show kids that moving on is a part of life. Even though I haven't seen much of the show, I actually kind of think it's a bit of a disservice to the characters, the audience, and the concept of the show to not have everything end with Paige and Frankie taking their talents to larger opportunities in life. Teaching kids that hard work pays off and might open some really cool doors is a great lesson. Aside from that though, the finale in general is just a little sloppy. They relied on the anything goes writing style just a tad too much in my opinion, creating some weird holes that I feel like a finale of a show probably shouldn't leave open, especially this show. If Yugal is sold, does that mean that the kids have to find another place to make videos? Do they have to start from scratch? There was a surprising lack of focus on the actual content creating side of the show in this episode. Aside from the fact that they're all together, which is fine and dandy, we don't really know anything about the future of these characters and where they truly are now. In the writer's quest to tell a generic story about friendship, they low-key forgot to focus on the actual aspect of the show it was named after. Bizaardvark. Like, is it even still a thing? The finale did do something I expected though. I mentioned how I figured they'd get some sort of lucrative offer elsewhere. I was hoping they'd actually follow through with it, but whatever. A couple of my other predictions kind of came true, but not necessarily in this episode. It's more so stuff that I'm assuming was introduced throughout the season. Hey, I'll be real with you though. I've seen worse episodes of kids TV. This one still has a similar amount of charm that the first episode did, plus I still think Paige and Frankie are fun characters to watch on screen. To the point where if for whatever reason someone put a gun to my head and told me to review the entire series, I'd probably have no issue doing it. Matter of fact, if this video gets 100,000 views in 1 month, I'll do it. You heard it here first. Let's do this thing. That's all I got for today's video though. Let me know what you think about Bizaardvark in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like it and hit that subscribe button. Follow me on TikTok, follow me on Letterboxd, follow me on Comic Geeks, join my Patreon if you wanna. I'll be posting videos early on there and occasionally even exclusive content. And yeah, as always, I am Mr. Nostalgia and I'm out for now.